this video, we're headed to the Rumble in Ringgold. This is a Southeast Gassers Association race. It happens once a year at Brainerd Motorsports Park in Ringgold, Georgia. That's just outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is my home track, so this is one of those that I just cannot miss. I was also shooting coverage for All Chevy Performance magazine, so you won't see every pass of the day in this video, but you will see some of the highlights. So you'll see some of that action later on in the video, but for right now, we're taking a look at some of the really cool combinations that I saw. I tried to mix it up with A gas, B gas, and C gas, and some super stock cars because there's a lot of great variety amongst all the different classes. And I wanted to give a quick note of why those classes are different. So A gas is 6 pounds per cubic inch, B gas is 8 pounds per cubic inch, and C gas is 10 pounds per cubic inch. But that's what makes Southeast Gassers Association racing so close and so competitive and so interesting to watch, because these cars are not on a dial-in, they're not on an index, there is no breakout. This is heads up, first to the finish line drag racing. The first car we're going to look at is Rob Walden's 63 Chevrolet Biscayne. Now, this is a cool car to begin with because it's a two-door sedan and these things are just cool. Now, most of them came with a 6-cylinder, but this one has a 409 based engine. I don't know exactly what the engine combination is. I know it's 409 based, but obviously he has worked this thing over. Rob Walden is the son of Lamar Walden, who was a 409 hero for many, many years, and he's passed down a lot of that knowledge and a lot of that expertise to his son, and he's out here beating on this 409 combination. This thing makes great horsepower. It runs in the super stock class, and Rob used to run a 33 Willis in the A-gas class with a 409 based engine as well, but he has since sold that car, and now he's focused on this super stock combination, and he's making good progress with it. He previously ran a single 4-barrel carburetor. He has now stepped up to a dual 4-barrel carburetor setup, but he's right there in the hunt running against the big dogs, and he actually took home the class victory for the Superstock class at the Rumble in Ringgold. Next up is a fan favorite. This is the Deputy Dog. This is an old Willis sedan, and this is run by B.B. Brown out of Dalton, Georgia. And BB's the guy who used to put on the Paradise Show and Go events at Paradise Drag Strip. He's put on other car shows, and when the Southeast Gassers Association became a thing, he got involved pretty early on. And this Willis has been a fixture in the C-Gas class pretty much since day one, because this car does have drag racing history, and it's still out there putting on a show, popping wheelies, doing burnouts, and banging gears just like the rest of them. But he's running in that C-Gas class. He has a pretty mild combination, so he's not out there setting records, but he is out there having fun. And if you want to see more details on the history of this car, I actually did a video on this car by itself quite a few years ago, but you can still go back and look at that. I'm going to put a link to it right here. Next up is a Ford combination. This time it's Greg Adams. He's from Winchester, Tennessee, and he has this early Falcon, and it's just got the classic gasser stance. Cool lettering on the side. It says Hillbilly Hoodlum, and this thing has a small block Ford, and you'll see lettered on the front fenders it says 289-ish. So obviously this 289 based small block Ford has been worked over, probably has a few more cubic inches, definitely has a few more horsepower than it would have had from factory, but tunnel ram, 2 4s, you got the classic gasser combination there. Obviously all cars in the Southeast Gassers group run a 4-speed manual transmission. That's part of the wow factor of this group, and if you look on the inside, this thing's got a really neat interior. I like those little seats. Lots of cool details, nothing crazy, nothing fancy, just a real cool old school gasser. Next up is Zach Hall, and he's from the Bristol area, and he's been racing gassers for quite a few years. He and his dad had a love for old school drag cars, and they built quite a few cars together. Unfortunately, his dad Ron has passed away, but Zach's still out there making laps in this old 55 Chevrolet called Homegrown. Now, he has switched combinations many, many times over the last few years. Big block Chevy, small block Chevy, automatic transmission, 4-speed transmission, and now he's back to running with the Southeast Gassers with that 4-speed. And to make this race at Brainerd, he pulled his big block Chevy, which had had some issues, and put a small block Chevy in there, You can see it's not a real exotic combination there, no tunnel ram or no fuel injection, just a single 4-barrel. And he went out there and raced with the B-Gas crowd, which is highly contested. Lots of really fast cars in that B-Gas class, but he went out there and had a good time. I always love seeing the wild combinations, and where else are you going to see a Studebaker truck gasser? This thing has got a cool setup, and this is what I would consider a traditional gasser. It has magnesium wheels on it. It has a cool stance, nose up in the air, straight axle. Obviously, every car, A, B, or C gas in the Southeast Gassers has to have a straight or solid front axle. So this one is no different. As we go up front here, it has a small block Chevy, and you can see right there it's got double hump heads. I'm not sure how legit that is, or if those have been cast into there later on. Either way, it's really cool because it looks like an old engine from the 60s. No accessory holes, those double humps, the old valve covers, the old Edelbrock tunnel ram, 2.4s. This thing looks like it came straight out of the 60s, but probably makes a lot more power than you could have made back then. Up next is another super stock car, and this is a 66 Ford Fairlane, and I just love the looks of this car. This thing looks like it was on the drag strip in the 60s. I don't know the history of this car, if it was an old drag car back in the day, but you could fool anybody with this paint job and with this lettering. The hand lettering on this car is great. And you can see under the hood it does have Ford horsepower, single 4-barrel carburetor, nothing real exotic here. And as we back up, it's got a cool stance. It's not way up in the air, it's not slammed on the ground, it's got old school wheels and those little bitty skinny slicks that are required by the Superstock rules. Now it's always hard for me to pick a favorite, but this little Model A Coupe had to be my favorite from the Brainerd race. This thing has all the old school tricks. It has lace paint on the hood, you can see scales on the side, and the name on there, Short Temper. Now that's kind of a play on words because the name of the owner is Marlon Short. It's a great combination, and it has a small block Chevy, tunnel ram, 2.4s, cool looking headers that have a really bright coating on there. Great looking parts and pieces on this car. It's got American 5-spoke wheels on it, cool interior, stripped down, pretty basic, nothing fancy in there, full roll cage of course, and just a really good looking combination that performs really well. That he's running in the A-Gas class against the big dogs, but this thing was holding its own. Now I told you the B-Gas class was full of heavy hitters, and this is one of them. This is Ted McKee and the Rocky Top Missile. Now, this little Chevy 2 is bright orange. You can't miss it when it's on the track. And you absolutely can't miss it because he's winning races a lot with this car. This thing performs extremely well. It has a killer small block combination, tunnel ram, 2.4s. It has all the right stuff. They're always working on this car to dial in the clutch setup, the suspension setup, the horsepower. They're working like crazy to make this thing perform and be right there, right on the edge of the record in the B-Gas class. Another heavy hitter in the B-Gas class is this Ford Mustang campaigned by Charlie Lee out of Sparta, Tennessee. Now, Charlie Lee is an iconic name in drag racing in the 70s and 80s. He had Novas and all sorts of cool combinations back in the day, and this Ford Mustang, which is Chevy powered by the way, is a killer combination in that B-Gas configuration. This thing has small block Chevy, tunnel ram, 2.4s, the basic combination there, but the weight balance on this car, everything about it really works. It is dialed in. Anywhere you go, see this car make passes. This thing's going straight. It's not hiking the wheels up crazy off the line. This thing goes straight and goes fast every time you see it. Now this next car, I hadn't seen this one run before. This is a 41 Willys, and it looks to be a fiberglass body, which is allowed in Southeast Gassers Association as long as you could get a fiberglass body in the 60s. But this thing's got a real cool combination. It's a really nicely built car. You can see the interior is super clean, lots of great details in here. And then under the hood, this thing has a Ford power plant. You can see the tunnel ram and 2.4s. It's got a killer setup, makes big horsepower, and he made some pretty wild passes. So he's got some bugs to work out as far as the weight balance and suspension, but a really cool looking combination, and I'm sure he's gonna keep whittling at it and make this thing a contender in the A-Gas class. Now here's one of the contenders in the A-Gas class. This is Barry Adler's 63 Corvette Coupe. Now this is a split window Corvette Coupe that's been turned into a gasser. It makes the Corvette guys cry a little bit, and this thing has tons of good pieces underneath. It has a killer big block up front, tunnel ram 2.4s, the classic gasser combination. Now you'll notice that not a lot of these cars I'm featuring today have mechanical fuel injection. There are weight brakes for mechanical fuel injection, and there are plenty of cars who run it, but just for whatever reason, today's video mostly features carburetors. But this thing's got a killer setup, a cool stance, and it's a big time performer in A-gas. All right, that's enough talking. Let's get into the action from the Rumble in Ringgold.
going to pick up another win. Man,